So you want to install your own bathroom exhaust fan, probably because you're tired of the steam building up and condensation forming on the walls. You're probably tired of people smelling up the bathroom and you're like, it's time for a change. In this video, we'll go over a few different items. We'll go over mounting the bathroom exhaust fan in the attic, because that's where we're on the second story. We're going to go over connecting it to existing power, and we're gonna install a new light switch. We're gonna go over installing a roof vent and the proper way to do that. We're gonna go over connecting the bathroom exhaust fan to the roof vent and how that'll look. During this project, you have to keep in mind that you're dealing with electricity, and so always turn off power when working on any circuits. Keep yourself safe, do the research beforehand so nothing bad happens. But buckle up, because we're about to install the bathroom fan.
Before doing anything electrical, remember to turn off that circuit in your circuit panel. Turn the breaker off.
Let me explain the situation that we have. I would like to install a bathroom fan here in the ceiling, kind of in the center, right around here. And I'm going to power it off of the light switches that power this light. We have a three-way light switch setup. So the power comes in here, and then the other switch is over here, and it powers this light. And so what I want to do is I want to tap off of the power that comes into this box, put in another switch, and then have that power the fan. I think it's important before you begin to understand how your light switch is wired. Right now I do have the power turned on, so I'm not going to really put my fingers in there, but I think it's good to, one, see how many conduits or wires are coming into this box here, into this gang box, and then figure out which one's the power, which one goes to the light, which one goes to the other switch, if there is another switch, and then to actually draw out how it's working. I'm gonna trace out this gang box after I remove this switch so it's not in my way. I already turned off the power, and then I'm going to trace it out. I'm going to make sure that this top is level. I have a little level right there that I'll put on top of this box, make sure it's level, trace it out, and then I will cut out this side here, and then I'll see how the box is secured. I already know the stud is on this side, but what I think I'll end up doing is just using this small crowbar to kind of pry that box out. I think it's held on by nails, probably up top and at the bottom. And then I'll take it out of the wall and then secure this one in there. This is what it looks like with the switch removed. We have the cord, or the wire in the back right coming in. That's the four wire going to the other switch. We have the power coming in the back left, and then up at the top, this one comes out. It's feeding the light. I traced out the part I'm gonna cut. Basically just trace that box. I think I got lucky. I just cut through, and the stud, another stud, is right there, right on the edge. So I think this box will just fit inside this cutout. What I'm doing is I'm just pushing the crowbar back in there and kind of moving it away as I go. And eventually I'll be able to break it free. Oh, there goes the bottom at least. It was indeed a pain to get out. The wires fought me a little bit, but it worked. I got it out. You can see how it was secured into the wall on that side. And be careful not to damage any of the drywall around the cutout, because getting this thing out, it's a tight squeeze there, but not impossible. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this wire up into the attic. I'm going to drill a hole in the wall at the very top, and it'll probably be like 2 layers of 2x4 is what I'm thinking. And I'll drill through them down so I can get inside this wall cavity. And then I'm going to
kind of snake the wire through.
The goal is now to find where I need to run the wire to down the wall. So I think it's going to be under this insulation over here. I took measurements where the wall is from the unit, from the exhaust fan. I took measurements, and it's going to be somewhere over in this spot. So I'm going to measure the distance. I measured here, here, and then the hypotenuse. And I took those measurements, and I'm going to drill down into the wall and then fish the wire into there and get it through that new cutout I made. So lucky for me is I found the top of the wall, and there's already a hole going down into the wall. So I'm going to check. I'm going to leave my light on top of that hole and then go back into the bathroom and see if that goes into the same place that I'm trying to go in. I'm going to look for that light. Okay, so there it is. I left my flashlight. I'm going to go downstairs and see if I can see that light down the hole. Let's see if we can see that light. There it is. Hello. Tracing out my wires, I was wrong. These go to the switches, to that other switch. This goes to the light, and this is actually the power coming in from above. So the power comes in, these two wires go down, excuse me, and then they go down, and then they cross over there's a hole in the 2x4, and then it comes up, attaches to the light, and then it goes over there, goes to the light switch. Alright guys, no joke. I come down from the attic and the wire actually came in to the bathroom itself. I thought that was crazy and awesome. So I drew out how the wires are all going to be connected. It's a little different than how I have my box set up over there. My power in is right here, my fan is over here, and my light is over here. But for the most part, the connections will all still be the same. So my power coming in, my hot, which is represented by the brown wire, is coming in and going to this WAGO connector. It's a 3-wire connector, which powers the fan and goes over to my light switch that's in the same box. So that is the 3 connector. And then the grounds are all going to be connected as well. So one from the fan, one from the light above the mirror, one from the switch here, one from the 3rd switch that's located on this wall, and then the power ground is coming in. And that's going to be connected by this 5 connector, which is here. And then I have the neutral coming in to this 3 connector, one from the fan and one from the light. Now, one thing that I didn't represent is this connection here that I circled, where the 3rd switch comes in with its neutral and connects to the hot wire of the light. And so that can be a 2 connector right there. Or you can use a wire nut like one of these. So that is an option. And that's kind of how everything will be set up. Alright, so I prepped all the wires here. I'm going to keep this amount of blue wire here and then put it behind this wall in case the switch ever has to move, or, you know, I want there to be some leeway in it. And having this extra wire in the wall doesn't cause any issue or present any danger. So I'm going to put the blue wire in the wall, and then I'm going to put this box in, make sure all the wires are fed down these slots. There's 2 on this side, 2 on that side that I'm going to use, and these little levers here kind of, see how it moves a little? Those are going to lock the wires in place after I feed it through. It's going to keep them stable. It's not perfect, but it'll do. I think this is as good as it's going to get. I was able to get as much of the wires as I could through into the gang box. I had to extend some of the ground wires using crimp sleeves. And then I just cut up some spare wire and connected the grounds. And then all the other wires, the neutral and the hot, and then the third wire for the switch and the fan, they're all long enough. It's just the grounds weren't long enough. From the previous install, I had to cut them because those grounds were all the way in the back of the box and there wasn't any extra wire in the back of the wall, so I had to extend those grounds. I'm not sure if that's allowed, so maybe it's something to look into. I'm going to start connecting all the wires now. I have the third switch over here. I guess it's more of the second switch, but they call it a 3-way switch. I have right here, this goes to the light fixture above the mirror. And then right here, I have incoming power, which I thought originally was that light switch, or the light above the mirror, but it's not. This is the incoming power, it comes from the attic. And then here I have the fan wiring that is newly installed. One thing to note are these lips in the back here. Sometimes they can act as like a little saw on these wires. Because right now I don't have all these wires like sheathed coming into the box. Like the sheath, there wasn't enough wire for all of the sheathing to come in. Like for example, this blue sheathing came into the box, but these ones didn't because the wires weren't long enough. But I was able to get the actual wires inside the sheathing into the box. But these little gray teeth, almost like these little levers that keep these wires in, can sometimes act as a little saw on the protective covering of these wires and then expose them. So when you are, messing around with these wires, make sure to do your best not to cause any rubbing on these teeth holding in these wires, because that can expose the copper underneath. At least that's what I've heard. Right now it's pretty okay, like nothing is exposed, and hopefully over time that won't happen. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on. And then this one down here, I actually broke a little trying to get those wires in, but that's how it looks. I'm gonna start right now with, I think, the switch on this side that controls the light above the mirror. And then I'm going to then connect all the ground wires. And then I'll move on to the fan, connecting the power. I think that's probably how I'll attack it. What I'm going to do, I have this light switch set up. I have that ground coming off. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect all the ground wires and then push it as far back into the box as possible so I can get the ground wires out of the way, make sure that's all taken care of and set back so it's not in close proximity to any of the hot wires. So there's some assurance there. And then I'll go ahead and wire all the I'll wire the other switch for the fan and the light in the fan here and the other connections. So this is why it's important to review the wiring and all the equipment, because I have a ground here that I didn't realize I have on this switch, but I didn't account for it in my wiring diagram. This is the switch right here. It's a little hard to see, but I don't have a ground coming off going to the junction. So I have this 5-wire connector, but I need 6 connections to it. So I decided to combine the ground wire for the incoming power with the ground wire from the fan, and then I took a piece of scrap, that copper, and I basically twisted all 3 of them together. I'm going to use this crimper so I twisted them all 3 together. I'm going to use the crimper to secure that, I'm going to bend this over the crimper so the crimper can't come off. And then I'm going to connect this wire into this connector for a connection of 5 wires total in this. So I'm kind of pigtailing in a way these 2 wires into one connection. Alright, so this is how it turned out. That wire is folded back on top of it. It's twisted on the inside. And it's crimped. I made this ground wire a little bit longer because I had to create this kind of loop at the end here to kind of angle itself into the 5th slot of this connector. So just wanted to point that out. Okay, so I just connected the white wire coming from the 3rd switch. This is the switch that's staying in this box here, but the one that's connected to this switch, I connected the black wire from the light to the white switch, to the white wire from the switch here for this 2 connector. Alright, so what I did here with this 3 wire connector, I connected the light, the fan, and the incoming power here. I added on this hot wire coming in, this black wire, to this switch. And then I also added a hot wire coming on to this switch here that I just used some extra wire that I had. And I made sure each are black. I think that's important. And that'll be this connection here. So the power coming in will go to this junction of 3. It'll connect to the switch and then connect to the other switch. I came in and connected the light switches, so it has the incoming power, hot, going to this 3-wire connector, and then to each switch. What's left is connecting the fan and the light wires from the switch to the fan and the light wires from the fan in the ceiling. 2 WAGO connectors I wasn't expecting to use are for the light switch. I didn't account for that. So these 2 wires will get WAGO connectors to connect to the black and red wires from the fan in the ceiling. It goes the red wire from the fan in the ceiling to the red wire to this. Oh, that's not right. That's the light. The red wire is the light. And then the yellow connects to black, which is the fan. I have everything wired up. The tough part is, this guy is pretty big. The tough part is going to be fitting everything nice and neat inside this box where I feel comfortable, where nothing's really hitting. You can see the wire connections. None of the copper wire is exposed outside of the connectors, which is good, except for the grounds. So everything, there's like maybe a little bit right there, that one can get pushed in a little bit, but it's a good thing to check everything one more time before you kind of gently push the switches and the wiring back into the box. So it's just one more time to check everything. I'm also going to turn the power on as it is like this, making sure, the grounds aren't close to really any of the hot wires or anything like that, and just see if the fan in the ceiling works. Okay, so some of the mistakes I made. This switch that connects to that switch, the wires are reversed. So when this light switch is down and the light's off, the other light switch is up, and vice versa. So I want to switch the red and the black on these sides so that they're both down when this light is off. Another mistake that I made is I currently don't know why the fan won't turn off, so I'm going to investigate that. So I figured out why this guy wasn't turning off. It was because I didn't have the light tray or the plug in. In order to have the programmable switch working, this light tray needs to be in. Now, whether or not the light bulb needs to be in or not, I'm not sure, but I put the light bulb in just in case. And now the thing is working. Alright, so I redid this switch, so it will now face the same direction as the other one over there. Then I'm going to push everything back. One thing to note is I did screw in all the screws fully, so nothing is sticking out and possibly poking anything. So I'm going to push everything back. I'm also going to screw in these guys. This is actually, there's little levers on the back that fold and then get secured or tightens and closes in on the drywall as this screws in. But it's so tight in this wall already, I was thinking I didn't need it. So I'm just going to screw these in, make sure it's flush so I can put that faceplate on. And then if the lever's set or not, I don't really care because it's secured on both sides, like press fitted into the wall between two 2x4s on each side. So okay, I just ran back up from downstairs after I turned the circuit on. The light's working. I didn't turn on the fan yet, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of test around at least the surface and see if there's any faults.